Is it transphobic to say only women have a cervix?
Well, it is something that shouldn't be said. It is not right. But Andrew, I don't think that...
So Rosie Duffield should not have said that. Can you explain to people watching why she should not have said that?
Well, Andrew, I don't think that we can just go through various things that people have said. Rosie Duffield, I spoke to Rosie earlier this week and told her that conference was a safe place for her to come, and it is a safe place for her to come. And I spoke to others to make exactly the same principle. We do everybody a disservice when we reduce what is a really important issue to these exchanges on particular things that are said. The trans community are, as I say, the most marginalised and abused of many, many communities, and we need to make progress on the gender recognition.
3 years ago, you criticised your MP, Rosie Duffield, for saying only women have a cervix. You recently backtracked on this. What do you believe now, and how do we know that you will stick to your views?
So Rosie Duffield said in 2020, only women have a cervix. You said in response, that's something that shouldn't be said, it's not right.
Well, look, on the biology, I agree with what Tony Blair said the other day in relation to men having penises and women having vaginas. But what I will say is
so
this...
So you changed your position?
Just on the biology, that doesn't help on the gender. There are some people who don't identify with the gender that they're born into. And they go through a lot of anxiety and distress. And my view in life is to respect and give dignity to everyone, whatever their position.
Boy. So we got to talk about the UK, okay? We got to follow up on a story that I covered probably a week or two ago about their Supreme Court declaring under their Equality Act that women or a woman refers to a biological woman or a female, okay? Which means that trans women are not women, right? They're not women because they're not biological women. They're not females, okay? They're biological male. And this ruling has all types of implications for trans individuals that want to be in spaces that are for the opposite sex, right? They now are going to have some issues because of this ruling, and there have been protests and all types of stuff happening as a result, right? The woke activists are upset.
Hello everyone, welcome to the trans rights protest! Woo! Can I get a trans rights human rights?
Trans rights are human rights!
Say it loud, say it clear, trans people welcome here!
Say it loud, say it clear, trans people welcome here!
We are trans and we will win!
We are trans and we will win!
All your hate goes in the bin!
All your hate goes in the bin!
When we want them!
Now!
And now the UK, they're having very basic conversations about things that I thought we figured out thousands of years ago. But apparently in 2025, their woke prime minister still can't seem to answer this question with a straight face. Take a look.
We saw protests this weekend in Bristol, as Paul mentioned, about the Supreme Court ruling. Do you believe a trans woman is a woman?
Look, I think the Supreme Court has answered that question.
So you don't believe a trans woman is a woman?
Look, a woman is an adult female, and the court has made that absolutely clear. I actually welcome the judgment because I think it gives real clarity. It allows those that have got to draw up guidance to be really clear about what that guidance should say. So I think it's important that we see the judgment for what it is. It's a welcome step forward. It's real clarity in an area where we did need clarity. I'm pleased it's come about. We need to move and make sure that we now ensure that all guidance is in the right place according to that judgment.
What are your words for the trans community who are worried about what this could mean for them?
Well, look, I think it is important that we have clarity about the law. That's what the Supreme Court is there for. So obviously that's an important and welcome step, and we go forward from there.
Mr. Speaker, does the Prime Minister now accept that when he said that it was the law that trans women were women, he was wrong?
Speaker, let me be clear. I welcome the Supreme Court ruling on this issue. It brings clarity and it will give confidence to women and, of course, to service providers. The Equality and Human Rights Commission will now issue updated guidance, and it's important that that happens and that all service providers then act accordingly. This government's approach and my approach has been as follows: to support and implement the Supreme Court ruling, and we will; to continue to protect single-sex spaces based on biological sex, and we will; but also to ensure that trans people are treated with respect.
Yes. This is a choice between a Conservative Party that stood up for common sense and a Labour Party that bent the knee to every passing fad. This is a question about moral courage, Mr. Speaker, about doing the right thing even when it is difficult. And the truth is, he doesn't have the balls.
The toilets are single-sex spaces. Mm-hmm. A mixed-sex toilet may well exist in certain places, and trans women may go there just as biological males may go there. Mm-hmm. But if a toilet is a single-sex toilet for women only, that space is for biological women.
All right, well, let's come to you, Robin, then. Let's say this Saturday night, you're at your local pub with your friends and you need a pee. Mm. And there isn't a unisex toilet there. Mm-hmm. There's a gents and there's a ladies. Where are you going to go?
I'm going to use the ladies. And to prevent me from doing so would be unlawful discrimination based on gender reassignment, because there is no appropriate space.
What if the manager of the pub, the guy behind the bar, the woman behind the bar, points to you and says, no, I'm sorry, I have reason to think that you're a trans woman and you're not allowed to use the ladies?
Then we're into the litigation which I predict that this Supreme Court ruling is going to bring us.
Do you think that they would have the right to ask you if you were a trans woman or not?
Well, we had the Gender Recognition Act because of a case called Goodwin that went to the European Court of Human Rights back in 2002. We weren't given the Gender Recognition Act because of a benevolent government. We were given it because under the convention we had to provide that possibility.
Right.
Now, the significant difficulty with the Supreme Court ruling is that it doesn't address that. And maybe it correctly points out some difficulties with the Equality Act, but what the most significant difficulty is that the UK probably finds itself in breach of its convention obligations under the European Convention of Human Rights.
Yeah, it seems like the activists in the UK, kind of like the activists here in the United States of America, they don't want to accept the reality that has been laid out by the UK Supreme Court. A reality that, in my opinion, was apparent from the beginning of human civilization, right? But, hey, again, it seems as if there's still some questions that need to be answered for some folks in today's modern society, okay? And they're having a hard time dealing with the Supreme Court ruling. In fact, when confronted on this Supreme Court ruling, this activist, Shivani Dave, is actually going to flee this interview, right? They're going to get up and leave from being triggered due to this host here of TalkTV giving this trans activist, this woke activist, a reality check on the fact that the Supreme Court has ruled that, hey, trans women are not biological women, that biological women are females, okay, that women are females. And yeah, that's just a hard reality for some people to accept at this point. So without further ado, let's get into it.
I just think that the people who are celebrating this with their bottles of champagne are going to look back, or hopefully we are going to look back at them and think that it's actually quite dark and quite disturbing that what they are celebrating is a separation of vulnerable people from society who are not going to be able to access the services that they need to access.
Right. I mean, Kate, there's a lot to unpick there. Are you including me, just out of interest, in the vile and hateful dog whistle broadcasters?
It's a self-ID situation. If you feel you sit into that...
No, well, I don't, obviously, because I've not been hateful about anyone who's trans
do you?
I'm asking you.
It's not for me to put you in a category.
It's not for you. Oh, OK. Right, here we go. Right, you say it's shameful. You think this in the future will be regarded as shameful. I mean, you obviously think it's shameful now.
Yeah.
And trans activists, many of them argue it is. Right?
I'm not a trans activist. I'm just a person.
But I'm talking about many trans activists. I wasn't including that.
Oh, woke activists, right? Woke activists. That's what this person is.
When you say women are beyond description and categorisation, well, no, I mean, that's like saying, well, a table or a dog is beyond description and characterization. We have words, and words are only useful as an ability to communicate between human beings because we all agree what those words mean. So if I hold up this navy blue mug and say that's orange, and use one of those, we have to be using words that have the same meaning. It's navy blue. So when I say it's navy blue, then you have to understand that as the same thing as I understand that. Otherwise, it's a meaningless conversation. So when we have a conversation about what is a woman, we need to all know what we mean by that. Now, it's your view and the view of many activists, I'm not saying you are, and many activists, that women has a number of different categories. People who were born women and are women, and men who believe that they are women or have a piece of paper saying they are women. The Supreme Court was very, very clear.
Yeah.
They're saying not only is the law now, they're saying it has always been the case that because you have a piece of paper, even a piece of paper, a gender recognition certificate, saying that you are legally a woman if you're born a man, you are not in fact a woman. Do you not accept that, or do you accept that ruling?
I mean, like, whatever. Like,
no,
for
that's
me,
not an answer to a question.
Let me finish.
You're not a 12-year-old.
Let me finish my sentence. That is, to me, whatever, because for me and my community, trans women are women. They have always existed. They will always continue to exist.
What does that mean? They've existed.
Well,
no one's saying they're figments of imagination.
Yeah, but we are saying that they're women.
No, saying they exist is not the same as saying they're women.
Well, I'm saying that they're women.
And but that's not the same as saying
fine,
they exist.
If the law doesn't want to...
No, so we need to use words that have meaning.
Well, here's the words that have the meaning.
Well, clearly, none of these words have meaning to these individuals. Because, again, to them, if you don't agree with them 100%, right? If you do not agree with their worldview, then you're trying to erase trans people. And I love how this reporter here clearly lays out the fact that saying that trans women are not women, okay, just laying out the basic facts that the UK Supreme Court has accepted, that is not erasing trans people, right? That's just stating a fact. Right? There's a difference, right? But they try to conflate that because ultimately, at the day, again, they know it's hard to defend this stuff, right? This person can barely defend it, okay? That's why it's all emotions, okay? It's nothing but emotions and how they feel attacked instead of just the facts, right? Just the facts. They don't like the facts. The facts are triggering.
Time to write these words, right, for you.
And we listen to them.
Frankly, I would rather share a bathroom with 100 trans women than one legal biological woman who wants to know what's inside my pants. And Julia, if I'm right in remembering, you did ask me what my genitals look like once live on TV.
I think that was in the context of a conversation and you raised that issue yourself.
I remember the quote. You don't have dangly bits, do you? So do you want to discuss dangly bits or not? Because frankly, I am now feeling in a position where I'm in a room with you and I feel unsafe. Yeah.
You feel unsafe?
I feel unsafe. I feel my heart racing. My hands are starting to sweat. Do you want to touch my hand? Just clammy now. Okay. And I actually think I'm about to have a panic attack from sitting in a room with you. So I'd like to leave now. Yeah.
So you're feeling... Yeah, you were asked to come on the show to have a conversation.
And I've had a conversation.
We had a very nice...
We've had a conversation.
Well, you read out a statement, and now I'd like to ask you some questions. You read out your statement. You did at the beginning. A statement. No, that's me introducing the topic for people who are just tuning in and explaining what happened. And you added your ad-libs. You got to say what you thought about it. I've said my piece, and now I'd really like to go. I thought we were actually... You actually plugged into a mic there. I thought we were going to have a conversation.
Boy, these people cannot handle the truth, right? They can't handle it. Basic logic and facts made this person get up and walk off, flee, right? Ran away. Oh no! Reality. Oh my God! Right? Gotta get up and go. Gotta get away. I'm panicking. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I gotta tell you guys, man, this is a fascinating life. It really is. Okay? It is extremely fascinating. The things that we're seeing, the conversations that we're having in 2025. Again, a lot of this stuff I thought we had figured out a long time ago, but apparently not. Apparently not, because the UK has just went through all of this, and you have people losing their minds, right? They can't handle the Supreme Court stating very basic biological facts, right? Things that, again, just basic realities of life are triggering to some people, right? They can't sit down and have a conversation about it. And it really is something to behold. It really is. But regardless, shout out to the UK, okay? At least on this issue, it seems as if they are moving in the right direction. Hopefully, the U.S. Supreme Court, we will have some rulings that will follow suit. And you're going to have more meltdowns, right? Coming, right? More meltdowns coming. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.